Let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered what it really takes to become a man that knows who they are with unshakable knowing? Have you ever had imposter syndrome? What does it take and what does it mean? And I want you to ponder on this today to be rock solid.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Welcome to my channel. This is Real Talk with the Real Prince Williams. And we're going to dive really deep into self-improvement, becoming the best version of yourselves. And we are going to go over 5 ways to improve your self-esteem, which in turn improves your vibe, but it increases your effectiveness as a man so you can truly become rock solid. So I need you to stick around to the very end of the video because I'm going to give you some bonus tips on how to become a rock solid man. Now, a rock solid man is someone who exudes confidence, strength, integrity in everything that he does. Is someone who's unshakable in the face of adversity, but always remains true to his values and his beliefs. 1, let's get into it. Emotional intelligence. To become a rock solid man, you must first develop inner strength. And this means that you need to build that resilience. You need to build perseverance, mental toughness. Life is always going to throw challenges in your way. But a rock solid man, he faces them head on and he's never shakeable. I've always had problems with people pleasing and trying to fit in. And one of those things, I've tried to fit my square peg into this round hole. And what I found is when you do that, you're robbing people the ability to really actually get to know you. They can never truly love you because you're not truly allowing yourself to love yourself. So you have to stop trying to fit in. And sometimes in the process of doing that, you're going to lose people. You know, especially if you're building the foundation off of a shaky foundation, because you built a foundation off of what people think you are versus who you are. So a lot of times what happens is we think, when we are being our most authentic self, that we start to lose the people around us. And we're not really losing people around us. They're vibrating and they're connecting with you on the level that you're showing them. But when you start to show people who you really are and all those quirkiness and all those different things that you like, those interests that you like to get into, a lot of times people don't vibrate at that level that you're operating in. And that's okay. And you have to be with who you are and realize that it's okay. If those people leave out of your life, then they weren't your people. They weren't for you. And sometimes, you have to, what I say, encourage yourself. You have to be okay with just yourself. And maybe this means in this period of your life, in this period of time, you just have to be silent and be still and find the things that purely you enjoy doing, that you can do in the enjoyment of your own presence. And the payout of this is you really start to become who you are meant to become, and you really start to love and enjoy who you are. In that way, who you are is defined by you, not defined by someone else. So I encourage you to not do that. I encourage you to be the one who's always there for himself. Number 2 is strength. I really want you to focus on your physical presence, because one way to develop inner strength is through physical fitness. And physical fitness can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Exercise not only strengthens your body, but it also strengthens your mind. It's something about pushing yourself to the limits and pushing yourself past the point that you never thought you were able to push yourself past. You start to build a mental toughness. You start to build discipline. And all of those attributes, what they start to do is they start to harden you and make you a rock solid man. They're essential for that quality in a rock solid man. See, I've always had the ability to go to the gym and to work out. I've been doing this for over 24 years of my life. And I've always saw the value in going to the gym. I've always saw the value in hardening my body, hardening my mind. And I did this through training in the gym, but I also am a high level martial artist. And so in all of that, what I found was, and this is probably what you've heard throughout the years, the body follows the mind. Well, I'm going to say it this way: the mind follows the body, because in your expression, in your physical presence, your presence tells a story about who you are and how you move around in this world. And in my experience, a strong build, a strong presence, and especially in my experience, has been my calling card. It spoke volumes about who I was as a man. And so other people are only going to see you how you see yourself. So if you do the things that require discipline, hard work, or a lot of work ethic, and you start to do things, hard things over time, you become very resilient. And so what happens is, at the end of all of that, you start to build confidence in yourself, which leads me into number 3, cultivating confidence. Confidence is another key trait in being a rock solid man. Confidence is not really about being arrogant. But what people are going to do is they're going to think you're arrogant. And what I once heard before was, I'm not arrogant necessarily, I'm recognizing who I am. Arrogance really is your ability, or what you think you are, and not being able to back up that ability. So you're being boastful. But boastfulness is really just you're bragging on yourself, and you're building it up, and you building it up more than what it is. Versus when you believe in yourself and you believe in your abilities, that shine through no matter what you say. It's congruent with what you say, but it's also congruent with how you're acting. So when you approach life with that certainty and that self-assurance, you're cultivating your confidence, and you're allowing yourself to set goals and actually achieve those goals. And when you set goals and you are working hard to achieve them and accomplish them, you're continuing to prove to yourself that you're capable of all of these great things. This builds confidence in your abilities, and it strengthens your belief in yourself. And so confidence really is the product of what I call your self-concept and self-efficacy. And so when you have confidence, what you're doing is you're confiding in yourself, and the key word is self. And every time you make a self-improvement, every time you do something that was hard, and you realize that it's not hard anymore, and you're able to do it, and you're achieving your goals, it's like you're making deposits into a bank. And the more deposits that you make into a bank, the bigger the withdrawal you can pull out. So every time, and so let me break down self-concept. Every time you are making these deposits, you're depositing into your self-concept, and self-efficacy is your ability to believe in yourself. It's your ability to believe that you can handle anything that comes your way. And versus your self-concept is what you think about yourself. So as you put things into the bank, you're able to withdraw. But if you're not putting good things into the bank, you're not able to withdraw anything out of the bank. You get what I'm saying? So you need to set a goal, or set goals, and achieve them. And this leads me to number 4, embracing integrity. Now, this is a tricky one, and it is not as easy as it sounds, right? Because most people think of integrity as honesty. And yes, integrity is honesty. Integrity is the backbone of being a rock solid man. But it's deeper than that. Yes, you have to be honest, but you also have to be ethical and you have to be true to your word. Now, here's the thing. Here's the trick of the whole thing. Yes, you need to be that with other people, but more so than other people, you need to be that with yourself. I just talked about you depositing things into your mental bank, of self. And so every time you let yourself down, every time you set a goal and you don't achieve it, every time that you're not honest about and owning up to your shortcomings and not holding your word, you are depressing yourself. You're robbing yourself. And so a man of integrity is somebody who, right or wrong, no matter what, is always holding himself accountable for his actions. And so I've had to check myself. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, and nobody is, but you always have to strive to do the right thing. Of course, this is not easy. It's not always easy to do the right thing, but integrity is the foundation on which all the other qualities exist. This is the thing that's going to set you aside from every other man. This is, if you're really calling yourself a high value man, if you really think of yourself as a rock solid man, the rock solid man is built off of integrity. So, here's a story. Anytime that I was incongruent with who I said I was versus how I was responding in this world, I noticed that I always struggled with, being or having check. So anytime I struggled with, being congruent with who I said I was versus how I was acting or how I was responding, I always struggled in my ability to impress upon another person, or here's a way to say it, or convince another person about who I truly was. Because how can somebody believe in you if you don't first believe in yourself? And it's not enough for you to say words as much as it is for you to match those words with action. And we all been around those types of people, right? And we've been around people, yes, you're hearing them say one thing, but you're responding to how they're acting. And sometimes those people, as you're interacting with them, you notice that something is a little bit off. We've all been there. We've probably done it ourselves. And it's not something necessarily that you can always put your finger on, but you know that something just isn't right. That's because your spidey senses or your sixth sense is telling you that that person is incongruent in what they're saying, and something isn't quite right. And now, how you get around this and how you become more congruent, even if you're not acting congruent at the time, or even if you don't have the ability to act congruent, is you have to bring awareness to the situation. You have to notice when you are doing things that aren't in line with what you say or how you want to be. Now, this isn't to come down in shame or in judgment on yourself, because that's the last thing that you want to do. But how you do it is you have to take everything as a lesson. If something doesn't go your way, or something because of your incongruency, you do something that is becoming of yourself. Take it as a lesson. Say, okay, I can learn from that and I won't do that again, and just do better the next time. It's really just that simple. Which leads me to number 5. Be fearless. You have to be fearless in this world if you want to be a rock solid man. A fearless man is somebody who is respected by others. He treats everyone with kindness, but he also has the ability to knock your head off if he needs to, because he understands that kindness and compassion is not weakness, right? But he does have strong boundaries, and he stands on his boundaries, and he stands on his beliefs. He values the opinions of others. This is hard. I've struggled with this. I've struggled with, having my own self-concept, but also being so rooted in my own self-concept that hearing being able to hear somebody else's opinions. Because in my mind, the way I interpret that is, okay, well, if they have a strong opinion about me, what does that say about me? Well, now you have to get to a point where you just don't give a damn about what anybody else thinks, their opinions or their perspectives of you. So sometimes you have to listen to understand and empathize with what they're saying, but then you choose, and you choose to go with what resonates with you. You still, and what happens is you're respecting others by being a good listener, and you're showing empathy, but you're treating others with dignity and respect. And this means that you're humble but yet open-minded. And it also means that you're always willing and seeking to learn from all of those around you. And so what happens is, one of those things, fear, and we all have areas of fear, but fear causes us a lot of times to do these weird things that make you incongruent. And fear causes us to freeze. It causes us to have that failure to launch. It's one of those things that, especially when you're incongruent, talking about incongruency, I had a situation that I had been talking about this product that I was developing. Been talking about it for months, talking about it, thinking about it, reading about it, sleeping on it, telling everybody about it, right? But when the time came, I was walked through the steps, and when the time came, I struggled with pulling the trigger on getting the product developed. Everything was done. I struggled with pulling the trigger. And what I had to do is I had to talk to myself. And it took me a couple of days to really kind of break the habit of that incongruency and that fear that was leading me to this stagnation. I had to tell myself, it's now or never. You got to pull the trigger at some point. And if you don't, you're always going to regret it. And so at that point and at that junction, I just went ahead and I told myself, I'm going to go to distance. I'm going to be all in. And what happens. And I'm just going to let the outcome be what the outcome is. And guess what? At the end of all of that, it worked out better than expected. The labels were great. The product was great. And so I was able to because I was able to put the fear aside, then I was able to move forward. And everything that I was fearing was really just a product of what was happening in my mind. And now, just like I promised, here's the bonus tip. And this is going to lead you to a much more fulfilled overall life of being a rock solid man, is you always want to strive to be a leader. A rock solid man is always a leader. He leads by example. He's inspiring others to be their best selves. He's confident in his decisions. And notice how I'm encompassing all of those 5 other steps. And he's not afraid to take charge when it's necessary. To be a leader, you must lead with integrity, humility, and compassion. That's it. You must have these clear visions. You must have this purpose. If you really talking about being a high value, rock solid man, you have to make the tough decisions when those tough decisions are coming. And so being a leader is not about having control. It's not about, being in power, but it is about inspiring and empowering others. That's the key word, empowering others to reach their full potential. And so what I've done throughout my years is mentorship. And mentorship isn't about you necessarily, it's about giving back. And many of us aren't in a position of giving, so we do a lot of taking. Well, mentorship is about giving, but it's about giving in a way to where you can teach another person what you know. And you want to teach and break down these high level concepts and break it down in a way to where people understand. And what you get back in return is because in teaching, you tend to learn the skill and you ingrain that skill into your psyche and into your being even more. You gain mastery over all of those skills, which feeds back into the loop of self concept, self esteem, and confidence in yourself. Becoming a rock solid man is a journey, it's not a destination. It requires dedication, it requires hard work, and it requires commitment to constant self improvement. But by developing your inner strength and cultivating your confidence and embracing in your integrity, respecting others, being a leader, and just continuing to learn and give back, you become that rock solid man that you aspire to be. So I want to thank you for watching. Please remember to on this journey to becoming a rock solid man, but it starts with a single step. And that step today starts your transformation. But none of these things mean anything unless you're taking action. I've linked the video here to help you along in your journey. So check out this video and continue to flow and grow.